Everyday Superpower, where we talk non-verbal communication, we talk the relationships between people, specifically men and women, but although we do dabble within that a lot, we also talk about general game, psychology, biology, and its effects on the world around us, who we are, and how others perceive us and how we perceive them. Today is going to be quite a serious one. I'm going to ramble on. It goes out to men. Women have their own way of dealing with things. It's a different world. But I live in the world of men. I am a man and I deal with men. And I've seen this 50 times over, 100 times over through so many different realms. And through experience, I want to tell those. I want to give people a helping hand, yeah? I really want to give people a helping hand if it applies to their situation. It's the power of saying stop. It's the power of standing up for yourself. And it might come unnatural. That's why you're in a position where standing up for yourself isn't, the norm. But truth be told, the moment you say stop, the moment you say no, the moment you just quite simply look at that person in a particular manner that expresses your discontent over how they're behaving, they will never, ever treat you the same way again. I assure you that. They might wind you up from time to time, but when you place that boundary, when they've been pushing to find out where that boundary is and you said, well done, you've hit it, give up, they'll always know that boundary is there because they've tapped it once before. And like that old saying of burning yourself on the stove whilst you're a child, once you get burnt and you experience the pain, you're going to go out of your way to avoid that, right? I mean, that's hardly a saying, is it? But you know where I'm coming from. The metaphorical value, right? The parallels as to which it shares with all of the learning curves we experience in life. A bully is a weak person. A bully is discontent in themselves, and in being so, they express that negativity upon others. And even more so, a bully may and does manifest within roles. Well, let's rewind. Let's rewind. We as humans work hierarchical. We need to understand who's who and who plays what in the pecking order. And men will play with men outside of their own conscious awareness. I mean, consciously they will make decisions and communicate in a particular way with other men. But on a subconscious basis, there's a reason as to why they pick and poke and joke and mess with other men, and it's to identify where they stand. Can I do that? Are they going to allow me to do that? If they allow me to do that, in what particular way are they reacting? How are we engaging? Because you can have banter given you are comfortable and confident with other people, and you both reciprocate things in a friendly and joyous manner. But sometimes it's just not worth it. To me, you have to spend a long time with someone before you understand where you can poke at them and what you can say and what you can't. Because even then, there will still be a dynamic as to where one person can go one place and the other person can't. There's still going to be that power dynamic. One is always going to play the bottom role, and that's not in every facet of life, but as far as like that particular conflict, because that's what it is. So when you are experiencing somebody in a friendship group, in a workplace, in a social group, and so on and so forth, and one person sort of pokes at you, you can pay attention, given it's not too strong, and just consider it and think, if he thinks he can do that, that's a bit off. Because my friends wouldn't say that. My friends wouldn't laugh at that. Or at least he thinks he can laugh at that when he's only known me for so long. That's a bit weird. And then the second time happens, and at that point you might not respond. And given that they do it a third time and create a pattern out of this behavior, trying to poke at you, find out who you are, where you are, at the very least they feel they can do that. It's at that point where you say stop. Because that lack of response on the second time should have been indicative that it wasn't a joke and that it wasn't reciprocated whatsoever. And so they, given it was light-hearted humour or whatever they were trying to do. And I'll tell you a few examples. Don't get me wrong. I'll tell you a few examples. Given that's the case, you have to say, give up. And do you know what the craziest thing is, right? This person who's going around poking everyone, being the boss, yeah? And this is the person who people perceive as the boss. This is the person people perceive as a strong man, right? They'll say sorry to you, and they won't do it again. Assured. So if you're a man out there and you're dealing with idiots, at the very least, keep yourself centered. Don't get emotional over it. Understand that it's them projecting their own sense of inadequate worth, and they're having to find some degree of power by, expressing it over others. Don't take it to heart. But the moment they say something which just sort of seems wrong, don't talk about my girlfriend. Don't talk about my mother. Don't talk about the way I dress. Don't talk about my choices. Don't say anything like that. Just turn to them and say stop, or say no. So I've had experiences. I've had some idiot who's within the, or should I say, just slightly external to the social circles I work within, and pops up every time. And well, every time he pops up every once in a while, and then when he does, he'll say, he used to do this, right? He gave me a command. He said, move there. I said, sorry? And he said, move there. And I said, are you going to say please? And he brushed it off and he said, oh, alright, I didn't know we were playing this alpha male thing. Please. And then I did it because he said please. The little side comment, yeah, fair play if he wants to identify it like that, but I don't know you well enough to you can't just tell me what to do, Bullies, we've all experienced them to some extent when we were younger in high school. I mean, where do you start? I learned this lesson early because my mind's elsewhere. I'm not a socialite, extroverted person. I'm not with the in crowd. So you'd get a couple of people trying to take a liberty at your expense, and I learned very easily the moment you puffed your chest out and stood up for yourself, and put forward that you weren't afraid of them, because you best believe they express this verbal and indirect passive-aggressive behavior as a defense mechanism to defend themselves from them ever to get into genuine conflict. But when you get that little brush of air from them, and then you get your sword out and you start to walk towards them, they think, whoa, this isn't the result I wanted. This was my defense mechanism to ensure this didn't happen. And paradoxically, it's actually provoked this reaction I was running away from the whole time by picking on this person. And they stop, and then word gets around. And not only does word get around, but you learn about yourself something that can never be forgotten, and that's that you can stand up, and that's that you can create, for lack of better term fear in them. You can strike fear in the heart of a man by showing them you're not frightened by them, whereas everybody else who they've tried to do so has been walked all over. You say, no. Who do you think you are? And that calm, confident demeanour is way more intimidating and of strong react than any sort of emotional reaction that they can sort of leverage into their power. We don't react emotionally, or at least we react emotionally. If it really gets to you, we react emotionally in such controlled manner that it strikes through the heart of that person. We look at them with the intensity, but we don't physically react in absurdity, okay? In volatility, we don't do that. That's the scariest thing about it, and women find that very sexy, by the way. A man who is still masculine and still dangerous, but doesn't react and doesn't act upon impulse. Men will respect you because they will know who you are and how you deal with things, and women will fall for you because they know what you're capable of but have the power to not do. Self-control is an incredible thing. Someone in the workplace had a bit of a mouth on them. Multiple times. As far as authoritarian figures, they will do this. But regardless of it being your boss, you don't allow no man to make a mug out of you, you know? So you still call it out. And if anything, you're probably going to be steadfast in that position in the workplace better than if you were to be a walkover, believe it or not. I've had one man pat his leg. Come here, boy. And I've looked at him and I've said no. And the next day they've apologised. It always comes with an apology. You don't ask for the apology. It just comes because they know. And to have a man who initially was trying to take the piss out of you apologise to you. Come on. The next person in power, call me a twat. Says, you're such a... And I looked at it and said, don't ever call me that. Don't ever call me that. We're in a professional working environment. Don't ever call me that, because I'm not. Simple. The rest is history. So I'm telling you as a man, we have to be dangerous. You know, I made a video. Be dangerous. Be incredibly dangerous. Be sadistic, but don't act upon it. Just know what you're capable of. And if you're not capable of such, then either you're walking through a very easy life, you have the emotional intelligence of somebody above and beyond me, or you're just jam-packed full of estrogen or something. Be dangerous as a man. And just let it just seep out 2%. Great big amplifiers, guitar amplifiers, incredible powerful things. When you've got them in your bedroom, when they're built for performing on stage, you can only turn the volume up ever so slightly. Because if you turned it up, if you ramped it up, you'd blow the windows off of the walls. And that's the power we have. And when you just turn it up, turn it on 1 out of 10. They understand it's 1 out of 10. On that note, I'm signing out. That's some game, yeah? Click like and subscribe. I do this for the men out there who need to understand, who need help, who want to do better, who don't want to be walked all over. I upload every day. Click subscribe. 2 links in the description. One of them will take you through to my YouTube playlist. Over 220 videos of how to learn somebody through their subconscious behaviour, how to read them like a book. Second to that is the Patreon. We'll watch first dates together. I'll break down the attraction and repulsion cues. They'll be before your eyes, and you take that out into the real world. You won't learn that elsewhere. That's assured. I'm signing out.